Do I make a comment if it allows me to? No, I'm not commenting. Oh. Is it showing up there?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just tell them what's going on. Shall I?
Yes.
You might want to step out of.
You can see the comments there.
Thank you. Never dull moment. How do we find out in the future what's going on here? Guess what? My comments aren't showing up on the feed on Facebook, but, well, on my bit. Anyway, Matthew fixed it all and I can see you on my phone. So, welcome, and you'll have to put up with me looking down occasionally to see what you're saying. Yeah, it was an oops, Erica. So let's hope that it all goes well right now. And I think we'll be okay. I can only hear myself on my phone. Oh, what a night. Okay. I am going to talk about transformation. Inner transformation and outer transformation tonight. I'll wait a few more people to come on because it's a beautiful subject and very important for us during these times particularly. We've been talking about the power of love and the love of power and the power of choice. And tonight we're going to talk a bit more about choice and transformation. So let me look down at my phone and check the messages. So, well, thank you, Mikhail. There you go. Isabel, thank you for being here. Erica, as I said. Hello, everyone. Yeah, Richard, you did lose me. I lost you. And, but I'm back. And, you know, the one thing about this whole process is it teaches you to be adaptable and creative in a different way. Yeah, we love David as well. I love life even more, and beauty, as you know. So let's begin. I'm going to have to put this phone down and try to be centered. So, I don't know if you realize that the word transformation in a spiritual sense is really about consciousness, about being conscious in living. And it means being conscious of your thoughts and what are your activities and what's your focus and what you watch. Because it affects everything that we do. And it's certainly, to transform, you need to pay attention to how you think, actually. It's like discovering that you have a power to create your thoughts. You have, you know, the one thing about COVID is that I've realized that there's not a time for us to be victims or helpless anymore. And I have discovered what an opportunity it's been this year in a lot of ways to be more aware of the importance of stillness and who I am and how important creativity is. I don't know if you've ever heard of Carolyn Mice, but she's a person over the years, she's an intuitive healer. She's inspired me on so many cycles of my life. A long time, that is. Maybe 45 years. She has just certain things that she says that inspires me. And today, she was talking about transformation and about how important it is that we do this at the moment in order to create a new future for all of us. And she had an amazing analogy that describes the process so that you can choose. And that goes with, ever since you're born, you started to, in a way, build a building. If you take like the Empire State Building as an example, but make it residential. So it has many, many, many floors. And once your structure is built of who you are on an external way, the only way forward for a human being is to concentrate on the inside. And what I mean by that is that if, say, you had a flat in the basement, imagine what that would feel like. And then, okay, you think it's too dark, you need a bit of light, so you find a flat on the first floor. And then after a while you realize, wow, this is really, doesn't feel very private. People can look in my windows, I see them walking by, it's really loud. Sometimes the rubbish is there next to my window until it's collected and everything, and you start wondering, don't know if it's good for me to live here on this floor. Maybe I should change. And the next thing you know, all these buildings have a penthouse. So imagine what would happen as you slowly go up this building from the inside. Every floor you'd have an amazing, better view. And the air would start getting fresher, and by the time you get to the penthouse, imagine what a view you have. You can see the river, you can see the distance, you can see the clouds, you can feel the air differently, you can see the stars on some nights. And wow, in New York City or any city, you see these incredible lights and the movement of the car lights, and life can be quite amazing. So I just wonder, what do you choose? What floor are you living on at the moment? And I am going to look at those messages on my phone to see what you have to say. Hang on a minute. I am seeing some wonderful people here. Why, hello, Michael Benner. Glad to see you could make it. Is that Doreen with you too? I hope so. Anyway, we have lots of wonderful people here. Sue says that she feels she's had difficulty with love since lockdown, struggling to get it back. Sue, what level of love are you talking about? Hi Karen, Stefan, Carmen, Myra, Yvonne, Beta, Jeffrey. Good evening everyone from Carmen. Pietro, Laurie. Hi Pierre. Okay, nobody seems to want to tell me what floor they're living on right now within yourself. So then we have to go on to what the transformation process might require you to do, because you might not think about what do I do? You have to first realize that you can, well, you can't necessarily change the past, but you can influence the future. And we've often talked about that. And when it comes to transformation, we have to consider, like look at yourself. It's a self-review in a way. Look at how you think. See what patterns you have. How are you functioning? What's your true nature? You need to ask all these questions, and there's unlimited ones actually. So, let me see, I saw a question. Isabel, I'd love to live on the high floor because the view is wider. That's super. And we've got Doreen saying, so happy to be here. Hello to all. Hi. I'm happy you're here too. So, let's continue with this idea of transformation. I think globally, humanity's going through another cycle of it. If you look back in history, there was a time mankind thought that the world was flat. And what did we do? We created a structure. Maps that showed the end of the world. We had fears that supposedly protected us from going out in a boat and falling off the end of the earth. I really wonder, how did it come that suddenly we realized, and it probably wasn't suddenly, that the world's round? I wonder if someone in a boat got caught in a storm and was taken further and further and further and further than they ever conceived was possible, and made it back to tell us. And then of course there came the cycle of looking at the stars and realizing that Earth was in an orbit around the sun, not that the sun and all the planets were going around us. And we're in a way going through a change now. What do you think that might be? What do you think that you can do within your own self? I think you have to realize, in order to do something, you have to realize that you have power. I've often said this. Everyone has the power to be the conductor of your life. You can make the choice. And it's down to little things sometimes. And I just realized today that I really have to move house. Because of COVID, there's, I have a classroom, I have a studio, I have a gallery, I have a home. And it's not being used appropriately. I can't have retreats, people can't come and visit, I can't have students here. So we've all turned to being on the YouTube. And it seems, I don't think it's financially feasible for me, and also for my own health and happiness and creativity, to be the only one in this big place. I will always live in the penthouse of my mind. But obviously, I think I have to shift again. I'm going to look at your messages. Sue is on the first floor. Okay. Are you planning on moving? Laura's on the balcony smoking a ciggy. Karen says that she has to clean the basement for a while. I will soon be moving to my penthouse. Well, that's a lot of floors to get through. You probably have an elevator, or lift as they say over here. Yvonne's on the top floor because of the view, and there's nobody above me. Hi Grace, welcome. Leslie. Snicky. COVID has forced me to spend time looking internally instead of projecting my frustrations on others. A lot of self-reflection. I feel like I'm going on up on the elevator. Yoo-hoo! Well, I mean, we all have to, there's so many little things, little hints that we all have to work in this transformation. The first one, as I said, you have to realize that you have the power. You have the power. You're not a victim. You are not helpless. You do not have to accept that story. You're creating a story of your own choice. Everyone can do this. The second thing is to start in a compassionate way. To just see what codes you, what little thoughts, what kind of doubts run through your mind, and find a way to transform them, put a different picture on them. Because everything that you think, everything that you say, everything you do has a vibration. Sound has a vibration, actions have a vibration. And you can shift that. Certain words will, you have to ask, is this serving me to think this? I have to say that moving to this house served me. And I didn't know COVID was going to happen. But I don't know if it serves me anymore in the same way. It's like when you start becoming in your elder years, I start asking different questions. And that's what COVID's helped me to also see. And talking to you guys, confirming my own strength of choices. It's like it's such a deep, amazing creative process that we're in. And the fact that it's so collective is awesome. So you need to look at what stories are personal to you. Which ones can you actually take steps to shift? But it's that inner realization that you are something quite wonderful inside, and you can further that and create it and have things happen, even if it's just happiness within yourself. Let me see what you're saying. Richard says it's a good question. He's considering selling his business and starting something new, just not quite sure what yet. Me too. It's just, and it's a matter of finding happiness and creativity about it. I had a few days, a few weeks about thinking about this, but I'm gonna think a picture. Maybe I'll even draw a sketch of what I would love for my next environment to live within. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm just going to go to Boa and lie on the beach and draw the palm trees. But I don't think that's what my soul's called me to do. Anyway, Yvonne says the great thing is that I don't hear any footsteps. Okay, well, there was a time when I knew I was in one of these cycles again that I didn't hear any footsteps. I didn't. My homeopath said to me, okay, where are you right now? And I said, I'm sitting in a chair in my living room. And he says, okay, well then you're on the earth right now. I said, yes. And you know, it took about 6 months of just staying calm, taking the kids to school, making their lunches, doing the shopping, to then and wait for something to come to respond to. You know, normally when changes come, things break down. And it's important for us not to put a band-aid over it or glue it back together, the same teacup, so to speak. And wait and see what happens. Allow something new to come, because there's a new energy coming right now that's helping us to transform that teacup that might have shattered. A new teacup's being made, and we need to be patient and see what that's supposed to be and trust it. Trust that life is abundance of joy and creativity, no matter how big or how small. Love your life. Denise is saying that she feels she's on the middle floor. Too frequently I end up in the basement, but everyone now and again I'm on the top floor. Now I just need to stay there. Well, consciousness helps you do that. Transformation is helping you do that. Mrs. Tweedy, my Sufi teacher, said life was always like a pogo stick that you're bouncing up and down. But you're always going up another level. You never quite really fall to the basement. But now we're waking up to where we take power. We're having to be creative because we can be. There's so much potential in human beings that we just don't use. We don't even know we have it. We don't know how to do it. I had a meditation the other morning, and one saying just came to me that said, step out of the struggle. I was making the struggle a reality. And once I stepped out of the struggle, I trust life. I'll move. It'll make it creative and say thank you. And you know, in a way, having a smaller place, I don't have to clean as much. I have to say there's a bit of dust building up though. In a way, you know, I really prefer taking the viewpoint of being behind the insanity. There's so much confusion and panic right now. And it's like, how do we help each other to stay focused and realize there's a place of stability always within us? And that begins with ourselves. Hi, Erica. Hi, Burpee. Verby, the fact that your heart is here, you don't need to chat. Listening is really important. Erica, am I going to be worrying about this in an hour, a day, a week, a month, etc.? Is another thing that helps me. Ah, maybe maybe just ask, does this serve me to think this way? Because it's like by asking the question with that viewpoint, you're actually speaking from your soul reality. And it's the mind that needs to keep busy, and worrying is part of all that. And the more that you develop your inner tool of identification more with your higher soul purpose, or the higher soul energy, I should say, because sometimes we don't know what our purpose is. The main first thing is to be aligned, to know that there is that wonderful space within every one of us where the love is, and our wisdom is, our true knowing is. There's such potential in us all. Denise says, my friend says to me, everything is temporary. That's the good as well as the bad, but it's very true. Life is always changing, that's the thing. And we're having to learn how to respond to change and make it creative, I think. Somewhere in our world we've made this idea that things are never change, they shouldn't change. And we hook on, and think that it has to be that way. So when sometimes there's a challenge that isn't so great, you start panicking because you think, oh my God, maybe this is going to be forever. But the moment you start getting up the elevator to higher floors in yourself, you'll see, you'll know. What's interesting is the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. And it's a matter of finding out what is the moon within us. But we tend to like to look at our fingers. Richard says, my house is so beautiful. It's full of art. That's true, Richard, and you have been here to share in it. But life, God, I should say, is saying I should do something else. And of course that can change any moment. I could suddenly win the lottery. COVID will change to where I could have students living in. I could suddenly sell a lot of my artwork, and then I could have time to see what happens. But if that doesn't happen, I need a lot of gold stars on Facebook to start supporting things a bit. But you know, if COVID goes on for another year of in and out, up and down, we obviously have to learn a lot of patience about all of this. We need to get immunity, group immunity. What's the word? Oh, is it herd immunity? Immunity. By going in and out, we'll get used to the whole thing, like we've done with a lot of other viruses. Isabel says, I'll live full time in RV when COVID is done. Living a nomadic life for a while and in a small space without useless things around. I'll go meet people where they are. Yeah. Nikki says, on point. I try to take a step back and say, is this going to matter in 20 years? If the answer is no, I try to spend as little emotional energy on it as I can. Hi, Juliet. You are late, that's true. But you're here. I was wondering what happened. Lily says that I've been an awakening for her. It's unexplainable, but it's love. I hope so, because it's what I can't help doing. I could help doing it, but it's like, I know this is something we all need to know, and if I have the opportunity to communicate that with you and us to share this, it's, we're all a family, waking up, transforming, to not being lost in the maya of the mind that worries and doesn't know what to do. I have my questions too. Lori said that when her daughter graduates high school in 25, that's 2025, her plan is to move to Bavaria and live with friends and be a beekeeper. That's cool. Maybe it's my bucket list starting to form around all of this. Thank you, Lily. Nikki just downsized from 4,700 size house to a 1,600 is SF. Is that to do with the size? I realize we are weird not using the metric system over here, but it's 65% less space to maintain clean, and it's been a huge blessing. This is what I was thinking, Nikki. Also, it's like psychically I'm holding an energy in a way. I mean, it might be easier just to be me. You never know. Juliet said she downsized massively 5 years ago and has learned that it's not about the house, but about who is in the house and the love in the house. Totally. Totally, totally, totally. I know, Richard, if we concentrate on the finger instead of the moon, we'll miss out on a lot. Herd immunity, yep. Yvonne said, someone once said the only constant in life is change. Yep. I agree to this, and it's quite often a challenge, but also a chance to grow. And I think we're in a big opportunity right now. I don't know if you know, but I've been doing, I have to say what Juliet just said. Her grandma used to say, everything passes when God thinks you've had enough. I've had a few words with him over the last few years. However, I think he had a plan for me, and I'm getting there. Good things are happening, and Ginger, you are so amazing for me. Juliet, your art is just progressing. I am so pleased for you. The frequency of your colors is really quite special. People should look at it. Her things on can you comment what your website is or your Facebook page so people can have a look at your work? Anyway, I've been doing live being creative on Mondays at 4 o'clock and Fridays at 4 o'clock in the UK. Hi, Andy. And we're on our third painting. And I have to say, I don't know if you were there on Monday, but or the other days, of where it came from, a spiral of colors with a face, and then it goes away, and then it started to come back in the last few moments, and it's not finished, but I have to show it to you what has happened. Cecil Collins, my teacher, used to say there's a moment when the painting will start to flower. Well, I tell you, this gives me goosebumps, this one. Here it comes. Have a look. And it was to do with the gateway to ourselves. And it's, as I said, it's not finished. But there's something that's happened in this that I used to draw a lot. I woke up one morning and it said, use a pencil. So I came down and I started using the pencil. I'm going backwards and forwards. Isn't it different, Isabel? It's like it just popped and I couldn't stop, and it's giving me so much pleasure. I don't know where it's going to go, but we shall see by Friday. I hope you all can be there and see the next phase of it. In case the one previous to this, and we're working with the feminine principle of the colors, and this one's more symbolic, and it's called Aurora. It's the feminine principle of the color of indigo, is the idea. And what it is about indigo is it's the bridge to the higher, to the penthouse, I should say. And as I've always emphasized before, is that the feminine principle is the bridge to the penthouse, the elevator, I suppose, but it's the masculine principle that brings the form. So by making this form, it's being guided by the masculine principle to receive. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where the third one is going to be, because the gold one in the back was the first one we watched start from nothing and be born. And and now I'm also going to be working on me. My future life is, and be guided is the main thing, and trust. Yeah. The one thing about it, it's truth is the change maker. And we have to find the truth of who we are. And we'll make images that we live behind, structures that we live behind, but always be aware that it's coming from this point that's undescribable. But it's there and guiding and full of knowledge, and really believes, trusts us, wants us to have a happy life. And as you all have said, that it's, I think it was Juliet, that it's not the size or the structure of the house, but who's in it and what love is there. And creating environments where it can happen. That's the important thing. Have you created an environment within yourself first, where the reality of the highest of who you are will manifest, your creativity, your love, peace, stillness? And then from that point, you will just radiate. And then that will start to transform the energy in your house. I've seen it happen in my houses quite often. I converted a pig farm once. I didn't realize that they were artificially inseminating these pigs and doing all kinds of experiments on them. So by the time I got to converting it into studio space and living space and all that, I got to this one room that was like, the energy there, it was exhausting to thought that I how to shift it, but I knew I had to do it, and I did it, and it converted the whole place into a different environment. I also put in a 6-foot winged angel up in the atrium of what was the barn. And one of my builders, the nephew of one of my builders, he came from South Africa to work with his uncle for the summer, and that was working on my place, and his job was to clean up. And he said, oh, and his job was also, because I was making this maquette that was 6 foot across, and every room that they weren't building on, he would help move the structure, and the wing would fall off sometimes, and just setting up new scaffolding for it and things. It was such a story. And when it was finally finished and it was up there, he said, Ginger, I have to apologize to you. I used to swear at that angel every day. But now that I see it up there, I just am so grateful that I watched it grow. So there was something that he'll never forget. Richard, you rented a pig farm unit, yeah. Something's going on in Chichester today. I don't know what they're putting on the fields, but it's not pleasant. Karen, I'd love to meet all of you. I hope that can happen at some point. And Stephen says that the eyes are beginning to speak in the newer painting. I know, that's what I love. It's just, I don't know if you've seen it, but on, was it Amazon Prime Video, there's a new series called Leonardo. And it has just so inspired me as an artist. And he was constantly making choices about wanting to paint the truth, not the illusion, not the lie. And I realized there was a time that I used to do a lot of drawing. I absolutely adored it. And Cecil used to say he thought that I was a reincarnation of Drewer. What a thing to live up to. But for years I've put it away, and watching this come out was such an amazing experience for me. It was like an awakening from the depths of who I am creatively. And to have come from the two before that were so symbolic, and they were totally in the process of creatively being born. There was no question where that was coming from. And when this started happening the other day, it was like, oh my God. It was like everything that has inspired me, that is me. There was a moment it looked like Cecil's drawings, and then it was a moment that it looked like Drewer, and then it looked like me, and then it suddenly was boom, there it is. I don't know where this is going to go, but I am so happy, I have to say. And I love the fact that I had the courage to dare to let you guys watch it come without trying to do something in order for you to watch it. Like, what about that one session where I forgot to turn the mic on? But you all stayed and you watched, and that was so important for you. I've learned a lot, and I will continue to work in letting it come through me. Especially this being an example that you guys have watched it. You've watched it be born again from inside. It's from, as I said, it was such a surprise to follow it and not just go with it instead of thinking, oh my God, this isn't going to be the third in the trilogy of the symbolism of the feminine. It's totally different, but it's an experience, and it's supposed to be the gateway, the stellar gateway. That was what came through. I don't know what it will be called. I'm going to look at what else all you wonderful people are saying. How do you know about Hook End Manor? That was an amazing big place. That to create that place was something to shift the energy in. There was a moment I thought, oh my God, what have we done? This place, it had ghosts, didn't know, and actually the history of the whole house had every relationship broke up. I wish I'd known, because we broke up in that house. And hi Donald, hope you're okay. I'm just looking at the messages. Nikki will come to the UK. You never know. I might wind up going to America. Yeah, I know what you mean. Karen, she sees a bit of Matt in there. It's amazing having him here. And having watched Leonardo, how he would go out into the market and just draw fearlessly. All these people all the time. I had to go and get a book of his sketches. It just arrived before my live, and it's... So I've started, I don't dare tell Matt, but I've started looking at him closer than ever before. And I used to do that all the time with people. And then I stopped doing it a bit because it embarrassed them. Cyan Sean, you saw Ghost of Elvis. Well, what do you know? Yeah. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do a Zoom. I can have a lot of people on the Zoom. A way of helping to bring in a little bit of income for me and take you through a creative process with clay. And the reason why I'm going to charge for it is because Lily, healer I worked with for a long time, she never charged for her healings until one day she met a very evolved person, healer, that said, Lily, you are building etheric strings of connection to all these people, and you have to help them find their own independence, and you need to make it a win-win. So you have to start charging something for your healings, except for maybe the children. And if a person can't afford it, then do a symbol of like a jar of chutney or homemade jam or something. So we have to do that, people. I am pondering whether I should on the live being, live creative things, maybe charging a nominal £1, so that symbolically we are free of each other and we can stand independently together. Kian, okay, Kian, I got it now. So, what do you think? It's important in this how to be one together and yet have an individuality, so that we stand, like Kahil Kabran says, as two independent pillars holding up the same house, because often our subconscious knows when there's a balance of giving and receiving. And because I really want that to be there, I'm trying to think of a way that we can do this. If we could set up something that you pay £1 a week or a month or something, just symbolically to represent you having your freedom of who you are. Good. Okay, well, Julia, I really appreciate that. She's looking forward to the Clay Heart Zoom. It'll be beautiful, and of course, charge. You give us so much of your time already. We'll be a gorgeous group supporting you and each other. Denise doesn't mind paying. Happy to add a little bit extra for someone who isn't able to afford it. And Lily says, I think this is definitely something wonderful for us all. Well, that is a relief. And for you to understand the symbolic purpose of it. Lily, it's like $1 or a franc, wherever you are. Where are you? Kian agrees. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. We're going to work on getting the Zoom up because it's such a great experience, I have to say. You'll need to get a little thing of clay from your shop somewhere, or Amazon sells them. Set up a tiptoed, Lori was saying. Well, any other ideas? Karen says she'd be happy to pay to help another person to get the wisdom. Yvonne loves the idea. Hi, Don. Lily's in Arizona, so it's $1. It'll be about $1, I think. The main thing is that it's coming to a point now that we have to work on opening and transforming our consciousness, which means that we will stand equal with each other. And this is a symbolic thing. That'll be a win-win, and for me and for you, and honor and respect. It's a nominal charge, it will be, but it's a big symbol. Hi, Andy. Well, let's see where it goes, and I hope you all can be on my Zoom creating a heart. You'll be amazed what happens there, and I'd love to do it and be interesting to see. And keep tuned into this site. And you know, people, it's 8 o'clock again. Oh my goodness. Great evening. So I adore you all being here. Share these videos to other people so we can pass the message of the self-growth and the self-awareness of who we really are. And find the beauty of it and to create our lives. Thank you, Juliet. Wonderful comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So, my dear friends, it's time to go. There is also, all my artwork is going to be is on ArtPal. You can get small 8x10s reproductions or buy the real thing. That would be very helpful because all this has stopped. Even going out to teach in colleges and things, or having people here. And what can I say? You've all been wonderful. Yeah, Nikki, I look forward to seeing you and meeting. I can't wait to see your expressions and go through it and see how your heart develops, your little clay heart. But you have to go through some other processes before that heart appears. But it's great fun. Good night to all of you. Thank you for being here. And see you on Friday for the development of the gateway, the stellar gateway. See whose eyes are going to continue to be here. Everyone has had to grow within the COVID thing, and I just hope that I've been able to help you find a bit of focus during that time, because life is always challenging and it'll throw us a curveball to make us grow up and continue to grow to be beautiful. So, thank you again. Have a lovely week, or see you on Friday for my classes, or see you on Matthew's lives. So, you never know. Love to you all. Good night.